It's my freaking news, so play the goddamn thing.
Drew's News. Exciting tales, fresh comic views. In the pages, heroes fly, villains plot under the sky. From Gotham's dark to Metropolis views, we cover stories old and new. Drew's News. Your daily source for comic clues. Join the fun, it's a heroic cruise in the world of Drew's Comic News.
Let me tell you about my best friend.
Well, before we do the news, just real quick, I'm hearing we're catching up with Jar Jar, and he has a friend with him.
Oh yes. So as we know, Jar, being at Castle Grayskull, is getting invited to all of the premier VIP parties, and it actually turns out he ran into a friend. As we know, his Terrificon buddy Larry Kinney, the voice of Lion-O from the Thundercats. But although Jar cannot confirm if this means that there will be a crossover, he could not confirm. But he did say that currently he's having a shot contest with Larry, and apparently, according to Jar, in a language that is definitely not human, I think they're tied. But Larry looks like he's going to pull in the next round. So that's going to be one He-Man size hangover. So, yeah.
Good to see Jar. I'm glad he's doing well.
Well, it's always nice when you're traveling and you find a friend.
Good company, yes. Yeah.
Indeed.
Fabulous.
Hopefully people know who he is there.
I wonder where he's going to be tuning in from next.
It's a true story. We'll see. So the news. I don't know who's. Oh, wait a second. Hold on.
You.
Okay. Right.
It's always you. It's your
me.
news.
It's me. So it's a me. And the world will know. And we've got the news. Ridley Scott has got comic books just for use. So, fun fact. So, legendary director and producer Ridley Scott has essentially found a new project ahead of his latest film, Gladiator 2, on November 15th. According to Deadline, Ridley Scott's label, aka Scott Free, is going to be teaming up with a production company called Mechanical Cake to publish 3 One Wolverine Claw original graphic novel series. One called Modville, the other one Hyde, and the other one is simply titled Nick. Co-founder of Radical Publishing, Dave Elliott, will be serving as the editor-in-chief of the books, and other attached creatives include the great Bill Sienkiewicz, Chris Weston, who I believe is working with Gerard Way in Paranoid Gardens, Dan Panosian, who is a fantastic artist who I've seen on a bunch of Marvel and DC projects, and Brian Rood, who I'm not familiar with his work, but considering his company, must be dope as hell. Details are a little scarce about the comics, but it's been described so far that Modville has been described as a sci-fi Southern Gothic crime drama involving AI humans called mods in a future New Orleans. Written by Mechanical Cake co-founder and CEO Jesse Negrin, with art by Hedry Presteva, who worked previously on Power Rangers, and Iko Pute, who worked on a series Mysterious Ways. Volume 1 will be available for pre-order March 2025. The series Hyde is a sequel to Robert Louis Stevenson's horror classic, following the titular fiend as he sets up a human experimentation lab beneath the streets of London. And Nick is a Yuletide war story inspired by Norse mythology. Apparently, first issue previews of both the series, Hyde and Nick, will also be released in March. So, yeah. I mean, it's going to be something, man. So, if you like what you heard, I would definitely stay tuned as more will most likely be released. Yeah, so we will see.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah. I unfortunately I wish I could say more on the subject, but again, we're working with what we got.
Yeah, and if it's due
Yeah.
in March, like
Yeah.
I'm sure we will hear more before it comes out.
Yes. Absolutely. But speaking of new publishers, I know that the next story is right up Kerry Sanders's um, particular corner of the dark library. Isn't that right, Kerry?
Yes, yes. Okay. So, what we have here is a lineup of Garth Ennis from The Boys, Ram V, The Many Deaths of Layla Starr, Marguerite Bennett, Animosity, Joe Pruitt, Negative Burn, Adam Glass, co-producer of The Equalizer. What's going on here is they are forming a new imprint at Image Comics called The Ninth Circle, and it is all about all the horror. They want to get new creators in, they want to collaborate with everyone. They want to have the demons and the beasties and the psychological stuff and the terror and a little bit of the humor and all of the murder and fun and lovely horrorness coming together into one big project. They're pretty much welcoming anybody into it. And what we're seeing here is their first release. The way they want to do these, by the way, is they're going to be releasing like a double issue length book every month to see what hits and what doesn't, pretty much. And they're going high on quality instead of quantity, which has been something we've seen with a lot of the newer releases lately. Ghost Machine's doing it, Distillery's doing it. They all want to give you these really big, nice books to read. And this one is called Freddy the Fix, and it is being written by Garth Ennis and illustrated by Mike Perkins. And it is about a fixer out in Hollywood where not all, but a large number of the Hollywood stars are various forms of monsters. And so they go out, have a party, eat somebody, leave some evidence behind. They need it cleaned up after them. So they send out Freddy. And this is going to be a bit of a horror comedy going into it. And it is going to be hitting your LCS on December 11th. So
Nice.
keep an eye out. This imprint, Ninth Circle, sorry,
Mhm.
is going to be fab. I'm really excited about that. They got some great people together and they're inviting anybody else who wants to join them into the project, as far as I can see right now. So it's going to be a safe haven for horror creatives. And you know me, born on Halloween. I mean,
Yeah, you
this
should
is what
apply.
my life is for. Yeah,
Yeah,
honestly,
you
I'm
should.
working on my writing a bit, so
Yeah,
maybe I'll send something in sometime.
and then on top of it, Carrie, they mentioned that there's a project by Marguerite Bennett, and then you have Jill Thompson, a story by Joe Pruitt, illustrated by
Hmm.
Butch Geitz. You have the story by Adam Glass, illustrated by Bernard Chang. And then these are all projects that are announced. We unfortunately don't have more details for them,
Yeah.
but I mean, you've already got an all-star lineup, and then again,
Hmm.
this is similar to what we've seen with Ghost Machine. People, instead of, just working with your gut, you're making your own alternatives and you're telling the stories you want. And, you know, honestly,
And you
I
own
think,
it.
yeah, you own it. And I think this is just, again, this is more of the beginning. Leo, I feel like this is the kind of thing like we saw back in the day with Image Comics, but on an even bigger scale.
Yeah,
You
totally.
know? Yeah.
Image bringing back all the new imprints is just like it. It was the big couple, and then Image had their thing, and then there was some
Hmm.
others, and now Image is, just because they're doing the publishing and letting all of the different imprints in, they're surging up. Like they didn't really fall, but they're rising a
Hmm.
lot higher over the past 3 or 4 years, just an insane
Yep.
amount.
Yeah. They're doing the Disney, they're just scooping everybody up, you know, all in
And
there.
it's not hard for them.
No, absolutely not. Um, and speaking of unexpected properties getting scooped up, Leo, there's a very interesting crossover coming up in 2025, if I'm reading this correctly, right?
Yeah. Let me. Here we go.
Bum-ba-dum.
I know. Okay, let me make sure I got the correct button here. Okay, so we all know Disney and Marvel have been making some awesome crossovers lately. You know, Donald Duck as Thor and even Wolverine, Mickey and crew as the Avengers. So I think DC's been feeling a little left out. So they've
Mm-hmm.
decided so hold on to your rings, everybody. Not your Green Lantern ring, but your gold rings, because
Mm-hmm.
Justice League is about to meet Sonic the Hedgehog and his speedy squad in a crossover event that's more unexpected than Superman mistaking the Chaos Emerald for kryptonite.
Ooh.
Leo, just keep going.
Yeah. So Ivo Griskovich, the big cheese of Sonic at Sega,
Mm-hmm.
spilled the beans during their annual Sonic Central live stream. So it's going to be a 5-issue comic book series, and it's launching in March of 2025. This
Mm-hmm.
Speed of Light adventure will run monthly until July, and the artist is going to be Ian Flynn, the mastermind behind the current Sonic comic series. And if anybody that can make Superman and Sonic work, he's definitely going to be the guy. So,
Yeah.
but wait, there's more. Remember, Batman Day back in September wasn't too far away, just a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So, that
Mm-hmm.
mysterious video of Shadow rocking out his own Batman suit. That
Mm-hmm.
was just the beginning. Warner Brothers and Sega are cooking up a whole smorgasbord of merchandise. You know, it's all about the merchandising,
Yeah.
the flamethrower.
Now
So
it's
we're
all
talking
about
toys, clothes, collectibles, the works. And you'll have to wait until late 2025 for that stuff to hit the shelves, but I think
Mm-hmm.
it'll be worth it. I mean, Sonic and
next picture.
Batman.
Yeah.
Oh,
Next picture.
next picture. Oh,
I
yeah,
made
thank
3 pictures for this. Next picture.
You know,
Yeah. So
there
whether
you
you're a
go.
long Justice League fan or have just been spinning through Green Hill Zone since the 90s, like I have, this
Right.
crossover is going to be fast in the Flash and more cool than Chaos Emerald. So mark your
Oh,
calendars, March 2025.
but I'm sorry. I don't know why, but Tails as Cyborg is just that's terrifying to me. That is just cute. And then God, Shadow as Batman. God, that makes
That
so
works.
much sense.
Yeah.
I will also say this: Ian Flynn, who has been the writer of Sonic for ages, he was also doing um, Mega Man back in the day, and I love that book. And I actually got to meet him at a New York Comic Con a couple of years ago. He's the nicest guy, and he loves both properties. I mean, if you ever really want a great book, I would definitely recommend. He did this fantastic storyline crossing over Sonic and Mega Man. Ah, just chef's kiss, fantastic. So there's no doubt that he would be the you know the writer for this. He's proved he can handle crossovers so well. But I'm just for me, I'm like Justice League and Team Sonic. I was like, yo, I thought
Ooh.
Wily and Eggman crossing over was dangerous, but now I'm like Eggman and like Lex Luthor. Good lord, that's gonna be
Okay,
dangerous.
so hear me out. I know this is totally crazy, but Warner Brothers Games has been feeling a bit of pressure because Suicide Squad was an absolutely abysmal release. That
Hmm.
they are going back to the drawing board essentially with Batman. What if it's like a Batman Sonic game that's like cell shaded?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not
I
for
mean,
me, but
I mean, listen, Leo, just briefly before we get to the last story of the night, you have Sonic 3. Fucking hell. You have Sonic 3 coming out. You have Shadow is going to be like the kind of sort of big bad, the way that Knuckles was last time. It's the implication there.
Mhm.
Um, it's a perfect time to really incorporate him, especially with the Sonic movies being so well liked and received and you can pair it's like the Justice League and the Avengers. You can pair with anybody. I mean, right now you have the Avengers with Ultraman, so anything's possible as long as the story is legit. So we'll see.
I
You know?
I'm on a very different spectrum of gaming than a lot of you guys are because of what I can play.
Mm,
Due to like graphic styles and things. And I can do a lot of like World of Warcraft kind of stuff as long as I turn down the effects and the spell casting and everything. I don't
mhm.
get to see as much of the game. But we were talking on Colin Bunn's server about video games the other day and like what everybody wants to play. And we were talking about horror games and like back in the day, do you guys remember there was like D, The Seventh Guest, and all of
Mhm.
those that were like kind of a mystery storytelling game?
Yeah.
I think it would be awesome to have Batman in that kind of a thing where you could go through, and maybe there is, and I just don't know about it. But you go through and be
Mhm.
like solving mysteries and going through puzzles. But based on what clues you pick up, you might be going in the right direction, and you might not. And so, have the
Yeah,
battles and things or whatever. But I think that would be great. Do they do
I
anything like
feel like
that? Because I would love
I
it.
don't. Yeah, I think it was. I want to say Telltale Adventures.
yeah,
Um,
because that kind of sounds like what they did with the Arkham games. You know, like you had the side quests and things you picked up, would lead to certain side adventures within the main storyline. But I think also you're right, Leo. There was definitely one or two Batman. I think like Telltale. Yeah, that sounds
yeah.
like right up your alley.
Yep.
You know.
It just sounds like fun that, especially if you really got off on you're like, oh, I'm all about this on this clue, and you're
Right.
totally wrong, and it just keeps leading you off on the wrong track because
Not the wrong
you
track.
don't know until you figure out like, oh, this plus this equals that was wrong, so this goes here on my board or however you'd
Right.
organize it. But
Right. Right.
that's
Okay.
just okay. So designers, give me that game, please. Thank you.
Cool. There you go. All right. And last but not least, last one, again, me. More details have been released about Absolute Wonder Woman. So
Mm.
we know we're in October, which means the release of the Absolute Universe is essentially nigh. I believe the DC All In Mega 64 issue book is going to be released next week or something like that. Um, or maybe it's this week. I don't know. Point is, um, they have released more details about Absolute Wonder Woman, who they've seen written by Kelly Thompson and drawn by artist Hayden Sherman. So Wonder Woman, changing up the origin. So this version of Wonder Woman, she was actually raised in hell rather than the fabled island Themyscira, meaning this woman grew up surrounded by monsters. So, when kaiju-like creatures are attacking Gateway City, she leaves home and decides, hey, I'm going to be a superhero. So, from the latest interview, you know, we, you know, we get the idea that the Diana's compassion, her emotion, her soul is really the big focus of the story, which Diana has always been an ambassador of that in that regard. But essentially, all they really did is what Lily Thompson did was that she just rearranged how she got there, some of her weapons, some of her allies. It's kind of a new mythology, which kind of brought to my mind what the great Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chang did with the New 52. They reincorporated her demigod status. They introduced a new version of Pantheon. It was just fantastic. So then for the redesign, you know, essentially her old costume, they felt like, oh, this is what it would look like if they were on Themyscira. This one is a more self-made look to it, but it's still reinforcing her basic practicality. Her arms and legs are covered because the forces she's going up against could take them off. So you have to be protected. So, so this, again, they wanted to give her a sense like this, how she presents herself, this speaks to the threat she's going up against. So they've also confirmed she, in this absolute universe, she's the first public superhero. So when you see her debut, this is the first time the world's ever seen something like this. So this is huge. So she's the in the Marvel equivalent. This is like when Namor first showed up. This is the first mutant of the world. The first family. Like it's this idea that you're in a world where crazy giant kaiju are suddenly on the beach, and then this woman shows up in a bolt of lightning and is whooping their ass. So it's pretty wild. So what you're seeing here, everybody, these are images from the release that'll happen on October 23rd. It's already getting some pretty crazy press, and with the fact that, from what I understand, Absolute Batman by Scott Snyder and Nick Dragata, from what I hear, it's already sold out. So they're already working on a second print. That thing hasn't even hit the shelves yet, guys. So if you like any of the Ultimate stuff, and we've covered it, Ultimate, Absolute, sorry. If you like any of this, my recommendation, go to your LCS tomorrow, pre-order, because I think we're going to see another Carrie, Leo, I think we're going to see another multiple printing Ultimate Spider-Man like situation here,
Yep.
Yeah.
So my question is, does this confirm that her sword is made out of Beskar?
I don't know what that means.
Leo,
her mask, it looks very the blacksmith from Mandalorian. It looks like that.
Oh, okay. I don't see. I was going to ask if it had been confirmed whether or not it's a Zambato, because the horse killing blades that they used to use, because she has that very samurai kind of style look going for her at this point in time, and that is a sword that would be used to take down a charging horse.
Okay.
We're gonna geek out on you, Drew. Answer.
No, that's fine. So October 23rd, everybody, Absolute Wonder Woman, Kelly Thompson, Hayden Sherman. Check it out. If you like what you see, pre-order it. That's all.
And a sword made out of Beskar.
That's a Zambato.
So, as I was saying, thank you so much, everybody.
Yes,